What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Seahawks Now, your home for all things daily Seattle Seahawks news, rumors, updates, all things Seattle sports. Seahawks taking on the Jaguars this weekend. Why does this game matter more? I'll tell you why in one sec. Plus, we compare the quarterbacks and the head coaches going up in tomorrow's big matchup. Here we go, guys. Seattle Jaguars, great game. So last week we had a 3-1 Seattle team against a 3-1 Tampa Bay team. Obviously, the 3-1 Buccaneers defeated us. Now, the 3-2 Seahawks going on the road against the 4-1 Jaguars. Here's what makes me really intrigued to see what's going to happen in this matchup. Obviously, the Seahawks have not been good at home. I think that is a factor possibly of why we end up losing to the Buccaneers there. We've been really good on the road. We have been excellent on the road under Mike Macdonald. The caveat to that, I'm going to read you the opponents we've played on the road, and then that might give you a little more of an idea of why we've been really good on the road. So look at 2024. Seattle on the road in New England. We defeated not Drake May. It was Jacoby Brissett. That was our first road win last year. Then we actually lost to the Lions on the road. Then we go to Atlanta. We beat Kirk Cousins, who was benched later that year. So now we're 2-1 on the road. Then we got the 49ers. We beat them on the road. A very injured, banged-up 49ers team. So now we're 3-1. Then the Jets, who were bad last year. The Cardinals, who were bad last year as well. The Cardinals were okay last year, but we always beat the Cardinals. So now we're 5-1 on the road. The Bears, we beat 6-3 on the road to make it 6-1. Great game that was, but again, it was the Bears, and did they have Caleb in that game? They did. So that was Caleb Williams. And then the last game of the season on the road at Los Angeles, but the Rams were resting starters. So it was Jimmy Garoppolo. We beat Jimmy G on the road. We didn't actually beat Stafford's version of the Rams. Stafford, I believe, still has a very good record against us. My point is this. And then this year, also, by the way, on the road so far, Cardinals, again, not very good. And the Steelers, who I think are okay, that honestly might be our best road win. So Mike Macdonald, 9-1 on the road since taking over as head coach. But really, when you look at it, how impressive were those wins? I don't know. Because, again, it was a lot of bad teams, bad quarterbacks. You could say, the Falcons win was a decent win. That was early in the season when Kirk was playing okay. And the 49ers win is still good because it was the first time we had beaten Brock Purdy. But, again, he was missing most of his supporting cast. If you pull up the stats, he did have CMC, but he did not have Brandon Ayuk, which is a big deal. They were missing a lot of defensive guys. So, again, it was a banged-up version. Also, no George Kittle in that game. So, he's missing Ayuk and Kittle. I mean, yeah. All that is to say, it's cool that we're winning so much on the road. This might be our biggest road challenge since the Lions all the way back in week 4 of last year on Monday Night Football. And if you remember that game, we laid an egg. We ended up scoring a lot in the second half. We scored 22 points in the second half to get back into it, but we ended up losing 42-29. We only scored 7 points in the first half. We were getting boat raced early. It was just not a great game. So, this Jaguars game is our most difficult road game since then. I think so, at least record-wise. They're 4-1. We haven't played this tough of a team on the road. Jaguars just beat the Chiefs at home, which is a big deal. They're coming off of probably the biggest win they've had in 2 years. You know what I mean? And so they want to win, obviously. We want to win. But how much does this matter? I think it really matters because this game is going to really, I think, inform for both of these teams where they stand this season. You know what I mean? Like, if we win, we're 4-2, and I think that kind of proves that we're legit. You know what I mean? Like, once you get that win, once you are 4-2, I feel like at that point, you're in. You're in the club. You're in the good team contender status level club. If you lose, all of a sudden, you're 3-3, And then it's like, okay, wait a second. Who have they beaten? You know what I mean? Because if you lose, it's like, okay, well, we lost to the 49ers, we lost to the Bucks, we lost to the Jaguars. Our wins are against the Steelers, which is, again, a good win. But then the other ones are Saints and Cardinals, which isn't great. So then all of a sudden, I think my guess is, yeah, if you don't take care of business, and I say take care of business, this is a tough game. If you don't beat the Jaguars, people are going to start calling you pretenders. Because then you got a good Houston team. I think Houston is underrated. They're 2-3. I think they're better than that. They're coming to town for a Monday night game in Seattle. That could be a loss. Then you go to the Washington Commanders. That's another tough road game. Then you host the Cardinals. We should win that. But then you go to the Rams. And again, we beat the Rams in LA last year, but that wasn't the Rams. That was the backup Rams. That was the Jimmy G Rams. The Stafford Rams in LA, that's going to be a tougher battle. Then we go to Tennessee. That should be a win. So, looking ahead, if you lose to the Jags, you're 3-3. Let's say you beat the Cardinals and the Titans. You lose to the Texans, Commanders, Rams. That puts you at 5-6. Vikings, we should win that game, 6-6. Falcons, I think we should still win. So that would put you to 7-6. Colts will be tough. At home, I don't know if I trust them there. Rams at home, we could probably split with the Rams and the Panthers. I mean, I still think, looking at this schedule, this is a 9-7 team going into the last game against the Niners, which I think is probably, I've always said, that game against the Niners probably decides this season. My guess is that if you win that game, you're in the playoffs. If you lose, you're out. But if you beat the Jaguars, then you start to say, wait a second, they're 4-2. Then I start to feel a little bit better about some of these other games. It would really suck if we start to fall into that pretenders discussion, because we've done so much good stuff. We are just a few games away from being an elite football team. So to say, yeah, we're actually just pretenders, that'd be rough. Okay, let's move on. Quarterback comparison. Who's a better quarterback, Sam Darnold or Trevor Lawrence? Going into the season, I would have said Trevor Lawrence slightly, and I think I've changed my mind. I think, for what it's worth, Lawrence has played well this year, but Darnold has played better. I think Sam Darnold is the better quarterback between these two teams right now. I think he's playing really, really well, and I think Sam is starting to get himself into the discussion of being a truly elite quarterback, and that's not something we have had for a while in Seattle. Not since Russell Wilson in his prime. And Darnold. I think Darnold can do the prime Russell Wilson thing. I think that is, his next level is to get to that point where he's like being in MVP discussion. He hasn't gotten there yet. Obviously, Russ, who is in MVP discussions for a couple years, but that's the next level for Sam. Trevor's not there yet. Trevor is still kind of at the point where people don't really take him seriously as an elite quarterback. So I think Sam Darnold's the better quarterback. What about head coach? Who's the better head coach? Mike Macdonald, Liam Cohen, two of the youngest head coaches in this league. Really cool. Liam Cohen right now, he is 39 years old, so he's one of the youngest. Mike Macdonald, I believe he is still the youngest. He is 38. So yeah, there you go. 38-year-old and a 39-year-old squaring off at head coach in the NFL. This should be fun. I think it's going to be a fun coaching matchup. Liam Cohen, viewed by many as an offensive mastermind. However, the strength of his team is defense. And then you've got Mike Macdonald, viewed by many as a defensive mastermind. But at least last week, the strength was offense. So it should be very interesting to see how these coaches maneuver through each other. Jaguars are going to be tough. They do take the ball away a lot. I'm excited to watch this game. But with that being said, we're going to wrap this video up. We'll have one more video tomorrow predicting the final score before the game begins. With that being said, we'll see you tomorrow. And as always, until then, go Seahawks.